So Bunny Girl Senpai has finally come to an end. I have a feeling, in a few years, many anime fans that watch this series are gonna think back after anime seasons pass, like 3, 5 years, whatever. They're gonna think back to Bunny Girl Senpai and say that this is a classic. That this is a series that if you're new to anime, or if you just want something really good to watch, you should watch this series. It's like a hallmarker for how good a slice-of-life anime really can be with some supernatural elements. You know, it's rare nowadays that I review slice-of-life series. I mean, I used to review them all the time in the past, but after watching countless amount of slice-of-life shows, everything kind of blends together to me nowadays. I mean, yes, there's different characters, there's different stories, you know, different stuff like that, comedy, all that, but for the most part, I've seen a lot of slice of life. And typically, they tend to all blend together in my mind, besides select a few that really stand out here and there. And Bunny Girl is one of those series that honestly has blown me away week after week. Every time I watch a new episode of this series, it always just made me just amazed by the sheer quality of the series, to how the story is told through these characters, how Sakuta is, how Mai is, how Kaede is, just seeing these characters interacting with each other. It has been quite a journey, and it's rare that a slice of life really grips me as much as it does, where I actually just want to continuously talk about it. I just can't, stop talking about it. I mean, I think many by now is very aware of how much I have loved this series since this series began for Fall of Anime 2018. Now, to get right into it, just to clarify, I will be talking about last week's episode and this week's episode in this video. And the reason for that is because obviously I was busy last week, so I did not have the time to really review everything last week, and I'm a little bit behind schedule, and so to catch up, I'm kind of throwing reviews together. It's not going to be like the slime review was. I'm mainly just going to talk about some events from episode 12 and 13, clarify overall my thoughts, and I'm actually kind of glad I didn't watch last week's episode until today, because honestly, I would have been a little bit angry. And the reason why is because that cliffhanger for episode 12 was atrocious. Like, holy crap, that was a nightmare cliffhanger. I'm so happy I did not watch that episode last week, because I couldn't imagine waiting a full week just to see, this episode that came out today. I don't even want to imagine it, because I hate cliffhangers, it bugs me, and it makes me really want to read ahead. But okay, to get right into it, this conclusion, or episode 13, is the end of Bunny Girl Senpai Season 1. At this time, there is no announcement if there will ever be a Season 2. However, I do want to mention something just to make sure everybody's on the same page and understands what's going on here. Even though there isn't a Season 2 announcement, there is technically a continuation that was announced. That is through the Bunny Girl Senpai movie. Yes, there is a movie coming out next year in 2019 in Japan. There really isn't a whole lot of information about it besides it carrying on the events of, the ending conclusion of Season 1. It's apparently going to be like animating stuff from Volume 6 of the light novel, and it's supposedly going to be focusing on Shoko and kind of her situation, her relationship with Sakuta that she had since the very beginning of the anime. So, yeah, that's what I've heard, what the movie's going to be about. The main point of it is going to give probably a proper conclusion to the anime. So, yeah. So, if you're wondering why the conclusion of this episode, like episode 13, didn't conclude every single thing, there's two reasons. Number one, the movie is going to be used to kind of give a solid conclusion for the anime, but also the light novel is still ongoing, so obviously they can't cover everything in just like a 13-episode series. I mean, I think everybody can agree with that one. It's just no way. And I think many can agree as well that the series has done a really good job with just really setting up each individual scene for the next arc, giving a lot of characterization and development. I don't think really anyone should be unhappy with this anime adaptation of Bunny Girl Senpai. But okay, now with all that out of the way, let's talk about the episode. Or the two episodes. Kaede, the sister. As we know, we found out, at least when I last watched, we found out that she was apparently without memories of her past. She forgot everything up to the point to where, the adolescent syndrome started. She forgot everything. So when she was hospitalized and she finally, saw her brother again, she didn't remember anything. She didn't even remember her own brother, which is very scary, because stuff like this, what was depicted in episode 12 and even in 13, besides the supernatural elements, it is very real. Stuff like that can happen, even if maybe some parts of these 2 episodes were exaggerated in some ways. Completely, repressing your mind and memories of certain things in the past do happen. It is definitely something that does happen in real life, and it's something that maybe some people have had to deal with in their life that, is currently watching this video. It's a scary phenomenon. It's something that can happen to people. If there's just an extreme amount of stress, trauma, whatever, it could cause people just to completely repress memories, and that's what happened to Kaede. She went through so much problems and stress that she repressed everything, and she just wanted to completely disassociate herself from everything in the past and be done with it. Be a completely new person, someone that has nothing to do with everything in the past. And you gotta imagine just the pain of what Sakuta had to go through throughout all of these years. Obviously, not all of it was bad. He had many happy times, which really shows how happy he kind of was, and how sad he was as well, when Kaede, her newer self disappeared and the old sister came back. You can see how sad he was. I mean, the man was crying in the shower, the bath, which I'm going to get into that scene in a minute, and explain kind of how amazing that scene was with Shoko, and what it really represents for the entirety of Bunny Girl Senpai. But basically, Kaede, we found out that she lost all her memories, and ever since she got adolescent syndrome, she had it to where she was making new memories, and her entire personality, everything about her shifted. And you don't really normally think about this much until you actually see it thrown into your face, when Sakuta mentioned, she's completely different. The way she talks, the way she dresses, the way she carries herself, the way she eats, the way, everything is about her, nothing is the same. And it really goes into a big, I guess, morally gray area, or just a gray area of how people feel about the human brain, or how we are as people. If you were to remove everybody's memories, just completely rip all the memories out, would they be the same person? Would they make the same decisions? Would they do the same thing as their old self? That's what many would constantly question. If they did not have the memories of their past, would they do something that they never would have done in the first place? And that's kind of what was happening with Kaede. She was doing things that, she never did in the past, because she was forming new habits. She was doing new things that she wasn't really aware of, and she was just forming new things that she could do now. And Sakuta noticed this, and he realized that his old sister was gone. She was no longer around. He'll never probably even get to see her again. That's what he thought at the time, and he's like, holy crap, I need to raise her and, make sure she's safe, and she, is able to be comfortable at the very least with her life right now. It's a very scary moment, and like I said, you gotta imagine from Sakuta's perspective of how much hell he had to go through. I mean, the man felt probably very isolated, like someone that he's grown up with completely forgot about him, didn't even know about his existence. That's sad. That's really freaking sad. But it wasn't till then, once he started really taking care of Kaede, that he, I think, formed a true bond with his sister. And what happened when he formed this bond, when she lost her newer self, it hit him like a truck what he lost, which leads into episode 13, the finale. Episode 13, it can be summarized with a couple words, but the first word that comes to my mind is just straight up sadness. Feels like I started to pretty much cry when I saw my boy Sakuta just running and all that in the rain, and you just see him crying and breaking down, because like I said in my episode 11 review, I believe, I said that Sakuta as a character, what makes him so interesting is he is someone that doesn't show his emotions normally. We've seen him get angry a few times, we see him get a little bit emotional, but never anything too crazy. He normally is just deadpan face. He's someone that doesn't really show a lot of emotions. He obviously is a caring and nice guy, but overall, he doesn't really show when he truly is sad or whatever. And when it comes to Kaede, you can see where this side of him, this very vulnerable side, comes out, and he acts very different from what we are normally used to throughout the previous arcs of Bunny Girl Senpai. And at the beginning of episode 13, when he realizes what happens to his sister, it plays along with what he said in episode 12. He should never show his little sister his bad side, or, the side to when, he's sad, miserable, or broken down. He should never show that to her. And so he was acting all strong, everything was okay in front of her when she was in the hospital, waking up, and obviously a completely different person. I mean, even if we haven't spent as much time with Kaede as Sakuta has in this verse, we at the very least can instantly notice she was acting very differently because of the way her voice actor was displaying her character, and it hits you. You're like, holy crap, this really isn't the same character whatsoever. So when he starts running outside of the hospital, just screaming and all that, I'm just like, yo, because, we don't see this side of this man. We don't see this man getting emotional and crying, and this man's breaking down. He's just begging for help and all that. He just doesn't even really know what to do, and when his chest opens up, you see blood coming out of it, which once again links to the adolescence syndrome that, was happening to Kaede, so we know that those two are very linked, especially when his wound opens up, and then all of a sudden, Shoko appears before him like a guardian angel and saves him. It's a very interesting moment, which I want to get into. Shoko as a character, even though she hasn't been in the series as much as other characters, for instance, Mai or Kaede, Shoko was very, very important to this story, especially in this episode, and I think it's a good thing that they're deciding to use Shoko for the main point of the movie, because we'll finally get some clarification who she really is, what's happening with her, and who is this new Shoko that was, introduced a couple episodes back, because that still is yet to be clarified. But Shoko appearing before Sakuta when he needed someone most, or someone like her, it's very crucial, because it's stated by Futaba in this episode that it's a possibility that she is just a figment of his imagination. She could just be someone that doesn't really exist, but he created her just to be able to have someone he could talk to and relay his feelings to act vulnerable, to act weak, and that's who Shoko could potentially be. And she might not exist at all in the first place, which is pretty freaking sad. Now, I do want to also take a moment to look at the bath scene and when Shoko was actually caring for Sakuta. It was a reverse situation. Normally, when we're watching, Bunny Girl Senpai, Sakuta's always the one cheering everybody else up, like either the little sister of Mai, Kaede, whatever. All the characters are usually getting cheered up, Futaba and all of them, and when they come over to Sakuta's house, or he's over at someone else's house, they take a bath, a shower, whatever, and he's talking to them, trying to calm them down when they're most vulnerable, basically. That's kind of the message there, and it was the reverse. Instead of Sakuta talking to someone, trying to cheer them up, he was the one in the bath getting cheered up by Shoko, which represented how Sakuta even became the person he is right now. Shoko was the one that technically created him to be as kind as he is now, to go out of his way to help people. So without Shoko, he wouldn't be the man he was throughout the entirety of the series, which that entire scene represents that, is that he was acting like, something that he never was, or, he was acting like his old self, or, he's acting like a person that normally needs help, but he was always the one usually offering the help or whatever, and it was just a reverse situation. I love that. I love the way this episode depicted that with Sakuta and showing him just as vulnerable as he was. But okay, with all that out of the way though, after Shoko cheers him up, he kind of, for the most part, he pulls himself together and he tries to put on a smile, and there is a complication with Mai. Overall, the conflict with Mai and Sakuta, it's kind of slightly cliche for a finale, but it isn't to the cliche that was very stupid, like a misunderstanding with Shoko. It was more along the lines that Mai was upset that she wasn't there for when Sakuta needed her most. And that's why she was very upset. Because Shoko, once again, was someone that came into Sakuta's life, helped him out when he needed him most, or needed someone most, and then left. And Mai was upset that she couldn't be the one for Sakuta to do that, and that's why she was just so angry and upset and just left, is because she realized, in a way, she failed Sakuta. She couldn't be there for him when he was just truly broken down, and she blames herself because she wasn't able to realize how sad he was in that moment. She just left and went to do her showbiz, and he was all by himself just to deal with all these issues. So, yeah, it's a very interesting conflict towards the end, but overall, they do make it up, and everything is okay, so I'm happy for that. I highly doubt something like that would have broken them up, especially for a finale for the series, so, yeah. But okay, with all that out of the way, though, I guess that's pretty much about it. I mean, Kaede, she forgot all of her newer memories. She's her old self. And Sakuta's just, he's going to have to live with it. It's going to be very interesting to see how, Kaede is going to act from this point forward in the movie when it finally comes out, and if there ever is a season 2. I am curious to see exactly how different she truly is, and will she eventually ever gain back those memories, or will she create new memories and eventually kind of become the old Kaede? Who really knows? But that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, I love you guys. Chibi out.